Yo, 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 yo! Darius Britt here. Y'all know what it is, man. Let's just get right into it. So Sirui is back with another anamorphic lens. They move fast. I mean, they just released the 35 with like, a few months ago? So that's 2 lenses in a year. And now we have the Sirui 24.
PTCs go. LPSs go.
I shot my last short film, Pandemic, with the 35. I shot a good chunk of Stay Pretty with the Sirui 50. I'll be releasing that bad boy soon, hopefully. When it comes to buying gear and all of that, everybody's got their own kind of checklist they look for. Me, like, one of the top things on that list is simplicity. On low budget productions, you're already multitasking up the wazoo. Heck, sometimes you gotta be a solo shooter. I'm not a fan of like building out an anamorphic rig for this exact reason. I don't have time to deal with all that. I mean, these guys have been a serious disruptor in the anamorphic lens market, and they're affordable relative to other options out there. It's a complete anamorphic lens. It's all in one. And yet they check a lot of boxes for simplicity. The lens has 133x squeeze factor, so if you shoot this at 16:9 and de-squeeze it in post, you end up with an aspect ratio of about 2:4:1. No cropping necessary. You get about 33% more field of view on the x-axis. If your camera doesn't have like a de-squeeze feature somewhere buried in the menus, a lot of them do nowadays, but if yours doesn't, you're gonna need a monitor that has a de-squeeze option, so you're not staring at a squeezed image on set. Not fun. This is, of course, an all-manual lens. F-stop opens up to 2.8. This guy is hefty. It's heavier than it looks. This won't be a problem for gimbal users. I mean, the others were heavy too. The bigger win here is the ultra like compact form factor. Nice fit, nice finish. Aircraft grade aluminum. This guy can take a beating. I don't know how severe a beating, but we'll leave it at that. The minimum focusing distance is about 2 feet, 0.6 meters. We've got 5 mounting options: Fujifilm X mount, Sony E mount, Micro Four Thirds, Canon's EFM mount, and Nikon's Z mount. And the filter thread size is 72 millimeters. This lens can cover up, I think up to an APS-C size sensor. If you plan to use a follow focus, the throw around the barrel is about 180 degrees. These lenses have blue flaring that may or may not go with the types of projects you do, but it is something to be aware of. As far as I know, lens gearing should come with this, just like it did with the 35. I haven't gotten verification yet, so don't quote me on that. So my thoughts on the 24 so far. Finally? As a Micro Four Thirds user, this was the lens I was waiting for. The 25mm is probably the most versatile lens for the Micro Four Thirds platform. You can shoot close-ups with it, you can shoot medium shots, wide shots. The 25mm is considered a normal lens for Micro Four Thirds. A normal lens being a lens that has the least amount of distortion. Wide-angle lenses are wide, right? Telephoto lenses are really, really narrow, and normal lenses are right in the middle. The field of view is gonna be like approximately what the human eye can see. Normal lenses tend to be more versatile, and this is why most people usually pick up the nifty 25 as their first prime lens. And the same is true here. Like if you're picking up your first Sirui anamorphic lens and you're shooting Micro Four Thirds, the 24mm is the way to go. You could probably shoot a whole feature film with just the 24. Keep in mind, the 24mm on the Micro Four Thirds is like a 50mm on full frame. Some things to look out for. Well, I haven't had as much time to shoot with this lens as I would have liked. The best way to get to know a lens is to like just go shoot a project with them. That said, so far one thing I have noticed, and this is kind of the same for the others, is flare management. They can flare up quite a bit. The flaring on this one is a little more pronounced than the flaring in the 35. I'd say it's between the 35 and the 50, so it doesn't flare quite as sharply as the 50, but not as subdued as the 35. The occasional flare is fine, but I don't like to go ham with the flaring because it can be distracting. I'm mainly into the anamorphic format for the way that it renders the out of focus areas, like the waterfall bokeh look. That I'm all about it. Give me more, give me more. So for me, flare management is a thing. You know, it could be just a piece of gaff tape at the corner of the lens barrel. It could just be a flag. You're flagging it off. It's easy to do, not hard. Could be different for you. If you're shooting a lot of sci-fi stuff, go ham with the flaring. That's kind of like par for the course. Sirui is clearly on their way to a full set of these anamorphics here. So here's a question I'm sure some of you are asking. Do you need a full set of these anamorphics for a proper shoot? The shorter answer is, no. Like, it depends. It depends. If you're in a position to afford a full set, then yes, there are obvious advantages. Yes, you have more options. Aesthetically speaking, all these lenses have the same coatings. From shot to shot, your images will look consistent. If you can only afford to get one lens, then I would say, go with the 24, shoot your next film. Let's take a look at some close-ups. A close-up on a 24mm is very different than a close-up on a 50mm. The 24mm's got a wider field of view. You can see more stuff, but it's not so wide that close-ups don't look good. You can pull off a close-up, a medium, or a wide shot. Very versatile. Whereas the 50, not so much. Very telephoto. If you've spent a grip on production design, you're gonna wanna see some of that on the screen, right? I don't want it blurry and I wanna see it. You get that with the 24. You can pull in more of the environment. However, if you have the opposite problem, you don't have a lot of money for production design, fine. You gotta shoot in ugly locations, you got a lot of boring white walls and all of that, and you wanna hide your lack of a budget as much as humanly possible, that 50 is gonna come in handy because it's got a tighter field of view. With the 50mm, you can punch right in on a tight close-up, frame out a lot of the other stuff. Remember, 50mm on a Micro Four Thirds camera is more like 100mm on full frame. It is a different aesthetic, different perspective. It's gonna have a different emotional impact on your audience, but it has its advantages. And the 35 is a nice middle ground between the two. Sirui is launching an Indiegogo campaign. I will leave a link to that campaign below. If this is in the distant future and the campaign is done and over with and they're already on the market, then I will have a link down there for where you can buy the lens. And it is affiliate link, you should know, yada yada, disclosure. Quick update on the massive start to finish video on Unsound, still working on it. But thank you all for watching. Keep hustling. Small tweaks make big peaks, man. Just keep grinding. Put in that 10,000 hours, get nasty good. Deebert out.